hate to tell you, but acoustics don't really work off the floor.
I mean,
I set it on the wall.
oh no,
yeah,
I have my clothes like behind me on the couch and shit.
Just take your duvet off your bed and throw it over the top.
Oh yeah, speak from underneath a pillow fort. I don't have a Riviera shelf in here. This is the problem.
You don't?
I don't. Oh, here's one. I found one.
I don't have one in my inventory either.
I found one in storage.
I think we went live on the slide.
Sneaky live.
Are we live already? Hello, everyone.
Yes,
Welcome
we
to the
are.
stream.
Top of the hour, boys.
Thank you for the follow, Mageark. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. But you're at VFC. Oh, you are in the weird. No, hang on. Rhapsody's here.
I'm here. I'm quick throwing up some rafters.
Okay.
Oh, it's Moki.
Oh, it's Smoke. Okay. Hey Fang. Hey Rai. Hey Chaotic Energy.
Wait,
oh, you are.
Which,
I'm
which
okay.
chaotic though? There's two chaotics.
Energy.
Okay.
Hi, Rye. What's over? The wait between weeks, where you have to wait for the next HGXIV?
No, the ad. There was an advertisement.
No.
But yes.
Let's go with the wait between weeks.
Yeah, that was much nicer. I hope you had a nice weekend so far. We about to ruin it.
No.
So
We are going to be educational.
Yeah, today's an educational episode.
I'm super excited. I was doing my real life housing because I was, remodeling my cafe, and I painted the bathroom door mint. It's so cute.
Oh yeah, you were doing the renovation. How is it going, actually?
It's going slowly.
I was about to say it's
my
probably
family is
slow.
one. Well, because I had planned on, I knew we were going to be shutting down because I was, just being proactive. And my plan, though, was to have, some of my full-time employees, not the high school kid baristas, but, the actual full-time employees come in and help me, paint walls and stuff like that, and, so they could keep getting their paychecks. And anyway, that didn't work out because, stay at home and all that, so. Now it's just me doing it by myself.
Oh my god.
It's pretty bad, but that's why it's so slow.
Is your stay-at-home order including basically every job that isn't mandated? Because over here it's down to company discretion past a certain point.
Oh yeah, the UK one shut down.
No,
right?
no, there are fines for non-essential businesses that are continuing to operate.
Oh.
But she's renovating herself.
Yeah,
Right?
no, yeah. The business is not open. I'm just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Good opportunity.
Because we got this big governmental list which basically just said all these types of businesses you cannot be.
Yeah,
If you're
we
not
got
them,
that.
then it's up to you.
Yeah. Oh no, we got a list and said if you're not them, you don't get to be open or you face fines.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, but Hobby Lobby was open. Did you read about that?
I
What?
read about it in Texas. I haven't checked here, but that's a
Hobby
very
Lobby.
Texas. Yeah.
It's like a kitschy arts and crafts store.
I see.
Very
But I
essential.
mean, I'm gonna be honest. If Hobby Lobby is open, I'm going because I need elastic to make masks.
Yeah.
We've been donating masks to our local hospitals, and I'm out of elastic.
I think that's also partially why
Mhm.
they're still open.
No, Hobby Lobby. There's a very good reason why, and I'm telling you, it has to do with politics and religion. But that
Okay.
being said, we're not going to talk about that.
All right.
Dang! Oh my gosh, is that? Oh, that's your weep house.
What a good way to put it. Oh yeah, that's your weep house.
I love her weep house.
It's the only thing that I went above and beyond with ceilings in recent time.
It is a very good ceiling though, because that's our topic tonight, and that's a great start to show it off.
Yeah, and let's see, it's mahogany beds and wooden beams, and the bunk bed is my favorite.
I was gonna say bed meta
Yeah.
before the times, but The sad thing is the bunk bed doesn't even provide bed meta.
I know. And we were using bunk beds way before this, if only we had known. Just
I
use
know,
regular
right?
beds.
Yeah, they look so good, and you can dive them too, which is the most important part about it, in my opinion.
Dude,
Because
right?
Very nice wooden texture, but unlike the normal beds you could use for a ceiling, they just have the opportunity. I wish we could finally dive them, honestly, or at least the blankets. I mean, you can dive them, but it's just like the little unnecessary blanket for the NPC ones.
Yeah. Chase your goals. We are building today, so we're not walking around tour houses. So we're building on Primal.
Yep. And here's the Glade bathtub. This gets asked quite a bit about the...
Yeah, I saw a lot of people asking about it, actually.
I
Like-
adore that like cobblestone on the ceiling look. It's so
Same.
pretty. Hi.
Oh, welcome to the stream. Yo, I just love that you used the little wooden part that will always stick out from the from beneath there. You used it as a feature. I love it so much because, man, when I was working with that shit, that was so annoying.
Yeah, you have
Like,
to cover
extremely
it,
painful.
otherwise...
Yeah,
It
I'll
bothers
be
me that it's not lined up, but it's okay.
yeah.
So
looks good.
the sad thing about that Glade bathtub is I super needed something stone for my husband's like man cave castle house, and I wanted to try that. I tried the Glade bathtub and it was so loud, and
Yeah.
like it just the water works in the bathhouse, like obviously the running water
Yeah.
in the bathhouse. It did not sound good in the man cave, let me tell you what.
The reason why I was thinking about using a stone ceiling using that little indoor garden was like if the texture wasn't good, right? Like it's very low res stone, stone texture, but you won't notice
it's
it
good for a
as much.
ceiling. Yeah, I was gonna say it's on the ceiling, so you don't notice the low res. The indoor garden was actually perfect
But
for what I wanted, but it does that bamboo deer
Yeah.
scare thing where every 3 seconds it goes ka-thunk,
And imagine
when
having
you have a
5
bunch
of them.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like there's a setting that you can turn down. It's
Ambient,
like,
yeah. Why
yeah,
don't you guys turn that off?
Because everyone else who's gonna visit is gonna hear that shit.
I was gonna say,
cares
like,
about
I can turn it
everybody
off for
else?
me, but then, you know, when I post it, and then people come visit, and then they're like, well, what is that god-awful sound? I'm like, well, that's the ceiling.
You know, this,
Not only
this
that, you
door...
miss out on the other ones too. On the other environmental sounds like bird chirping and shit. I want
Yeah,
that.
you lose that.
But speaking of everyone else, this door, only PS or PC can exit, I'm pretty sure.
Really? PS
Yeah.
click it?
I mean, I can
I'm
do
gonna
it,
need someone
but
on a controller to come click it.
it's not
Let
an
me hook up
ashen
my
door if you
controller
can't
real
get out.
Oh god, I'm struggling to even click on it. What the fuck? Okay, there we
Click
go.
in the corner, the right side.
I need to click on the right like door frame on the partition. Oh god, Jesus. Wait, why
I
is
just click
that?
just click on the cupboard.
Yeah, browse.
Cupboard?
Come on.
Yeah, come on, get with it.
Oh, okay, there I see. Sorry, I'm too wide to fit through this door.
You
I like-
do what now?
Yeah, see, I need to like.
You need to go sideways like a
Oh,
crab.
very broad shoulder.
Like, legit have to go like that. Sorry, gonna squeeze through.
Alright, so what I wanted to do, what I had planned to do, and what didn't happen is I wanted to show 2 different quick entryways. Usually, as ceiling-wise for an entryway, people go with a drop ceiling. So I did that drop ceiling and rafters. What's this panel doing over there? I don't know.
Sorry, I'm almost done.
Stage panel
This
from the other
was-
one.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
It's not PS4 friendly. Sorry, Angie. But we have the drop ceiling. So we have a drop ceiling, and presumably we go into a higher ceiling, which we can build. And then over here, Raps, I had made a high ceiling leading into a low ceiling, and then I asked Raps to fix it. So whenever she's done.
I'm just adding some dyeable rafters, because the rafters you have over there are the wooden beams, right?
Yes. So
they're wall mounted.
Wall mounted, very annoying. I like wooden beams, but I don't like messing with them because they will snap.
Yeah, you really gotta know and have a certain structure to make it work, honestly. because but if you can get it to work, they're the perfect items. They're very simple to place, very easy to handle. I mean, considering that they snap a lot.
Let me show you the main issue.
Honestly, I use them on a level with partitions specifically, where they don't snap a lot.
Yeah,
But that's only for normal partitions.
The thing is, as well, with like wooden beams, is if you're trying to go for color consistency, they force you into something that you wouldn't get with a part.
True. Yeah, you gotta stick to wood. Like if you have a build that is not supposed to be wood, like maybe something modern, definitely not suggesting using wooden beams. It really depends. Really depends, but you know.
I like the wooden beams. Like, I loved them in my, like, country cottage look. But yeah, I'm not sure. You'd really have to be...
They're quite a bright wood
planning
tone,
your
and I feel that alienates like a lot of glade furniture.
Oh, you think so? I think they're not that big. They're not that bright, actually. I think they're pretty good.
They're
It's
close
like
to loam.
Yeah, I was about to say loam. And loam is one of the darkest brown types, if not the darkest, apart from dark brown.
I mean, have you not noticed that glade furniture generally tends to lean towards dull? It's not. It's not a case of the darkness of them. They're quite,
the glossiness.
Right, they're quite a light. So
Okay.
if you want pure consistency,
you gotta have a good contrast. Maybe you just gotta have a good contrast too. Like for example here, if you use a white or like light color from the ceiling itself, but keep the wooden beams, honestly, they seem pretty dark compared to that. It doesn't. You don't notice it as much as if you have a good contrast. If you use the loam brown loft, for example, and the wooden beams, yeah, it's not gonna work out as well as just using another color with a better contrast.
I think that depends as well whether you're trying to look at the ceiling like in regards to the whole thing. If you're trying to look at the ceiling individually, then yeah, sweet contrast. But if it then stands out from everything else,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, your consistency is a bit ruined.
It's a bit hard sometimes to find the right balance for ceilings, especially because it also depends how high it is. Because, for example, in your build, where you have like a big open plan room, you definitely notice it much more than having a cramped area, for example.
Oh, by the way, guys, we have Synt on with us today. I don't know if we mentioned Synt. We visited his house last stream. Yes, my days are running together.
Yeah.
And he had that amazing, like, ceiling made with beds to bed meta, but also super modern, really cool. And anyway, that makes him a ceiling expert in our book. So he's with us today for ceiling building.
Yeah, no pressure.
It's just the point where I do like a mandatory hello.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi guys,
Synt
my name's Synt. I like houses.
Yo, same.
It's okay. This is a safe space. You can talk about it.
Hey, right.
All right. I think. Well, will you come look and make sure all these? I rotated all these. Are these rafters up?
I don't understand anything you do right now.
What?
Oh, those rafters? No, they're down on the ground for me.
Yeah, they were down on the ground for me.
Rude. Okay, hang on. I'll actually rotate.
So
instead of just clicking.
right now, I'm gonna show a different rafter type that I've actually put into this log cabin I'm working on. It's the same appeal of showing the exposed parts of these stage panels, but I'm putting I'm putting this log in the middle of it.
Oh, I see. That's a good idea.
Like a big center rafter.
Yeah, so I have that to make it sturdy. I'll show it to you when I'm done. I should have done this beforehand.
I love that.
Why can't I select anything?
If you have rafters, you need is like, if you're building a structure, you gotta have like very good support, especially if it's like very thin rafters like these. Going across an entire room will be hard to make it look good and believable. So having a very certain strong structure that supports it is very important. I saw it a lot. A lot of people do it with the glade partitions, actually.
The glade, yeah.
I used the half glades because they actually. Half partitions. By the way, camera collision. I did them in my attic, so I didn't have to bed meta the attic. Yeah.
Ah, right. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. because we should make a small maybe like compile a few items that actually are supposed to, or that you can use for blocking the camera, because that's actually quite important. So every partition will work, depending on the angle, of course. But if it's a half partition, of course you can't look through it. Like, it has a certain collision, which is stronger, and not like it has a collision. That's it, compared to other items like the lofts.
Speaking of which, we should talk about bed meta.
Yeah. We do have we don't have an example here, right? You didn't put any beds here.
I'll put one up. I'll put one up over this one. Are these white rectangular partitions floating now?
The rectangle partitions? Oh yeah, they are floating now.
Okay.
It was closed off before, so I didn't see them in the first place.
You know, I'll catch this. My gosh, I'm messing up for myself so bad.
Accidentally not putting it high enough or not low enough.
So, what do I need? I need a bed. Oh, and some black dye. Do we have black dye in the FC?
I have some on hand.
Ooh, may I have 4?
Pass the black dye, my guy. No, but for anyone who's watching and doesn't know what the bad meta, what the actual fuck we were talking about, it's about the collision being blocked using bats. So basically, if you turn your camera around and like tilt it to have a bird's eye perspective, with lofts and other items that people like to use for the ceiling, it just goes through it, and you can see through the loft, and you can see all the behind the scenes stuff going up inside the ceiling.
And honestly, that used to give me a lot of motion sickness in custom houses.
Yeah, I think it's very PS4 friendly. My FC, they're all PS4. I'm the only PC player, and they would like to visit my house in the past, but the camera would go right through it constantly, and it would make them sick.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Can they not zoom so easily?
No.
It's hard for them. It automatically adjusts, basically. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's wild. That sounds awful.
And so, it is important. So, but you gotta keep in mind that first of all, you gotta to actually fight that, you either float, as Rhapsody mentioned, the half partition, because that is also an item that has a collision. And if you look at it from the top, or like any partition, really, right? Because it also blocks a collision with a camera.
Well, some of them. I mean, like the stage panel obviously will block from the side, but it doesn't block from the bottom.
Yeah. So like you will be able to see through the rafters, but through the item actually has collision.
Oh, does it?
The rectangular partition has collision on all of it.
Yeah,
it does.
If you want to use it, you've got to put a bunch close to each other, otherwise you get gaps.
Yeah.
So imagine... no, I'm actually looking through the stage panel right now. It doesn't have collision from the bottom at all. Like, see this one right here?
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's very
wonky.
It's probably just the white part. Yeah, just the white part. Huh. No, actually, it isn't. It doesn't have any. Okay, good to know. No, but the other partitions, if you have it right above you, you won't be able, like, your camera won't spin around. But that would be also requiring you to cover your entire ceiling with partitions, which is also very item slot heavy.
Yeah, because they're so skinny.
Yeah, and the best suggestion is to just use bats, because they do the exact same thing and they cover a large space horizontally, not just vertically like the partitions. So it is much easier to cover the fake ceiling, so the camera wouldn't glitch through. And the best thing, I think the canopy bed is the best one, right? Because
the Glade canopy bed. The other two canopy beds offer no collision at all. Weirdly enough, only the Glade canopy does, but it is huge. It's so.
Yeah, exactly.
And in terms of regular beds, obviously the double feather bed's probably the biggest one, and that does work.
Very expensive.
Well, I mean, if money is no object, double feather bed is also really pretty on the bottom, so you can save a lot of item economy there, as Synt did in his personal, by just using the bottom of the bed for the ceiling.
Yeah, I just want to point out how impressive that was, because I didn't even recognize the texture at the beginning, because I never looked at the bed from the bottom. It was really good.
How did you come up with that idea, Synt?
Oh, I don't know, it just came to me.
It just happened.
Nah, it was Ashen's suggestion.
Oh, wow.
the fishing!
Wow.
The was the fishing stream, y'all.
So, I mean, how did you come up with that idea? Wouldn't you like to tell us?
I mean, it was my suggestion to use like 80 partitions around it. So.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I mean, who's even? I was gonna say, if I'm pretty sure the build's down now, but obviously if people go on Twitter, if you wanted a good example of a rectangular partition ceiling that offered full collision, Feng did one for his, I think it's French neoclassical build. It was in the
chocolate bar ceiling, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's still his pinned tweet, but you can get kind of like a good idea of scale for kind of the distance you need to make it work for a whole ceiling.
Yeah, we get some pictures up we can show later, because that's one of the examples we wanted to show you guys. Because we've seen some amazing different ceiling styles so far. Like, people have stepped up with their ceiling games so much since all of the new stuff happened. And it's so good. Also, thank you so much for follow, Sol. I didn't see that you followed earlier, sorry.
How dare.
I know, right? I was like, well, only now? But, you know. Probably a different person.
Okay, I bed meted this little entryway. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Ashley's almost done too.
I kind of messed up her other ceiling, but now you can see the little bit of rafter, and it's kind of cute, so I'm gonna leave it.
That is really... I just noticed what you guys did behind us, Sneaky. I didn't even see that while we were all busy.
Oh! the viewing section.
Yep, the sitcom seating.
The HGXIV was filmed before a live studio audience.
So there's a question from Mage.
Yeah, I was about to go into that. You want to go ahead, Synt?
Yeah. So if you're making a custom ceiling, which kind of you want to have collision, so bed meta, the chances are you're going to raise it to a point where it may clip through. So depending upon what you want to do, if you're doing a basic ceiling, maybe you can not close off. If you're starting to lift partitions and stuff through as rafters, you're going to automatically get them come through to the other floor. I covered the full floor in a medium with beds. The whole thing, it was about 30 slots on beds alone.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, but I mean, that's kind of good for like kind of the point of reference. It's about 10% of your slots in beds on one floor in a medium. So, depending upon what you want to do.
Item economy, yeah.
Yeah, it's how big do you want to go, how detailed do you want to go. That's always the thing with item economy. The more detailed you go, the smaller it's going to have to be.
Also, you gotta consider that in your house you use some as your ceiling, but if you have a fake ceiling in place that you just want the camera to stop glitching through, canopy bats, I think, have a much bigger collision than
they
the
do, but then you're also going to have the issue of the giant canopy going up into the floor above.
That is very true, yeah, that is so...
Since double feather beds are great for making a lower custom ceiling on a floor without needing them to go up through the floor above. Now, obviously, he used white rectangular partitions to coffer them, so that doesn't, like, actually, in practice that didn't work, but, like, if that was what you wanted to do, you could do, like, you know, wooden beams and beds to make a lower ceiling, and then you'd have, like, that whole look without interfering with your floor above, but you're running into item slot issues at that point. But yeah, it's all, think of it like a sandbox, Mage. Just build what you want to build. You don't necessarily need to be constrained by SE's layout.
Yeah, I've seen 2 floor builds with custom ceilings on both floors using flooring mats and glaze. So it's totally doable.
What I did also is in my workshop part, I used an item that is covering a lot of space. So I have like a smaller area with a low ceiling, but then I used, for example, a cask rack. Was it called cask rack? Cask rack, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I used that to cover the height difference between both of the fake ceilings. So it was basically a very low ceiling. Jesus Christ, cask rack.
Cask rack.
Jesus Christ, sorry.
Why is this so hard for you?
Many things are hard for me.
Aww.
And then basically went into the other ceiling. It's really easy sometimes. You can use a normal partition, or you can use these simple stage panels, or even rectangle partitions too.
This is so pretty, Ashen. What the heck?
I see what you're doing, and I'd just like to point out, if you lifted those lofts up very slightly, and this is about the only good thing from those stage panels in this way, you can get a pretty good imitation of a barn ceiling.
Where? What?
Lift the lofts up. It's individual beams, isn't it, which are thin.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I just like this like timbered look. This looks like it belongs in the half timbered house. Ooh, is there another log partition in the storage?
Not in the storage.
Oh, I'll go buy one. Maybe. I don't have any gil. What?
I'll get one.
Thanks, Synt. Do you know where the dude is? Wait, where are you?
Alright, just setting the scene here.
I wanted you to put because there's a little hole here. I wanted you to put an accent of the log, like the round cutouts coming down through the middle. That would look.
Here, you can do that.
I need Synt to buy one for me because I'm
please.
broke.
I think he's already here.
He's
like in the
buying one.
corner.
Alright, so this is what I've been doing in my log cabin right now. Just to space out the stage panels more, because you have to, obviously, people have been doing rafters like this for a while, but it's often very thin, the area you have to work with. So then I was like, what can I put in the middle to make some more space? And I was like, wow, this log partition actually isn't that bad.
It isn't that bad. It also depends on what colors you use. Combined with the rafters, it works really well in my opinion.
Oh, that's so pretty! Oh my goodness! Look, the logs just look like modern art to me at this point.
True. It also goes very well with the log house that you mentioned before. Maybe have like the partition a bit further into the ceiling, so it's not a flat texture, but adds a bit more depth. You know what I mean? Like a bit up, just a few pixels.
Yeah, but
Something
that is one thing, and this was what 1, 2, 3 items for a ceiling,
I was gonna
and
say,
it's so
look at the item economy.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the rafters are very, very good. Like the using the stage panel for that is very smart.
I love that look. God, do you remember that bathroom, like from forever ago? When
Which
we
one?
first were figuring out the lofts, and I lofted up these stage partitions, or stage panels, and like I lined the back of them with windows, and so the light would just trickle down through the rafters. And the back of the stage panel is the goat. Like
yes.
That's
very good.
Like, cause look, you get 3 horizontal rafters and 1 vertical rafter out of it. Like, it's just so good.
It's definitely worth it. Yes.
Just like a tiny thing to note more for people listening than us. If you look at things in real life with wooden rafters, they do tend to have a center beam like this.
Exactly.
So if you're going, because obviously you have to nail them into it, so you're going for consistency. If you look at the actual rafters in pretty much every single in-game house, this house has wooden rafters. Yeah, and really the same.
Yeah. It's very important to it just looks more realistic because of the structural support.
Yeah, the only
Unlike-
downside is you can't dye it.
Yeah, but it's got such a beautiful look at the wood texture
I
on
love the
the
wood
stage
grain.
panel. It's so good. Can you compare it to like the back of the
It's
Glade wardrobe?
really good. Yeah.
Back of the Glade wardrobe looks like cheap plywood compared to this.
Yes.
Many things look like cheap plywood in this game.
Yeah. Alright, so there's my contribution. I'm done, guys. Who's building
Good
that?
job! Well,
Good job,
you
Ashley.
gotta come look at my bed method little entryway over
Oh,
here.
wow, look at this. Now that I'm done.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the live studio audience.
It's, oh my god, just a very small studio.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, actually show off the difference between yours and how the camera acts compared to Rhapsody's here.
Yeah,
think
good
that would be
idea.
good.
Okay, so I'll start over here. I did not bed meta, which is what we discussed earlier. We're going to line it with just a simple bed. I think you used Riviera beds.
I used an Oasis, but yeah, it's the same.
Okay,
same
yep,
size.
just a vendor bed, something cheap. My camera will go through that when I enter and So normally you have to stay very zoomed in. I have to do that manually. But if I go over to Rhapsody side here, I'm zoomed all the way out. It stops my camera.
I like it for the immersion because it makes me feel like I'm walking into a real building, not just like a Lego building.
All right.
For you, it's more interesting because you're Lalafell, so your camera's automatic, right?
Well, I mean, your camera goes as far as it goes, regardless of what size your character is. But so, like, I usually play and my character's like a little ant on the ground, but like, cause you know, Raider, you got to see everything. But yeah, the bed meta is fantastic because then it feels more Lala sized too. Like everything can be shorter, and I don't feel like I'm a tiny thing in a huge house.
Chad is pointing out this door. I lost a window, but there's a door. I just kept the I kept the merchant shelf on my screen.
I think they're on about the other door.
Oh, the other door? Okay.
No, this door definitely lost its window, but on my screen it's there because I put it back. Hold on, let me try to fix it again.
I can see it.
I can see it too.
So the black one. So what I did was I didn't feel like lofting up the merchant cupboard, so I was like, I'll just keep it at level, and that's what I did.
Oh my god.
What? That window's still kind of funky.
That's so weird. It's not on my screen. Here.
It was normal for me.
Do you want me to exit?
Now it's fucked.
Here. No, let me just give you. Oh no.
I'll just exit.
Let me set down.
When you exit, note I really like the light, how it comes into the, or how it comes into the room. Just
yeah. That's another thing I like to do is hit my hidden windows.
I was gonna say, in this case, it's actually the door, isn't it? Like, that's the actual door providing that light.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this one's the actual door, but this one I put in front of the window, which isn't quite.
Okay,
yep, okay, so the window's back.
Okay, I see. Yeah, it looks the same as before for me. So, in the good way, of course.
Yay! So,
There was a,
Go ahead.
Alright. There was a specific example I wanted to give of kind of bed meta where it does more than just kind of block the camera for the sake of yourself. Most recent place I've seen it was Ashen's personal, where she built the second floor. On the stairs, no matter what camera angle you have without the beds there, it's going to clip straight through. So when you're building something where you have like increased verticality and there's like no kind of, so you know, tiered levels kind of stuff, as you move up, no matter how your camera is, if you don't like bed meta it, you're pretty much always going to cut through the ceiling.
That is true, yeah. That's been... Which person was it? The one where... The 2-floor one, yeah? You said?
Yeah, personal, yeah. Because obviously there's that big custom staircase, isn't there?
Yeah.
But I mean, I had it in something I was working on before, and it was... I don't know, it wasn't even like... The second tier wasn't even like a full rectangular partition, and going up the steps, it just straight...
I will say, when you do bed meta, I had this comment on my personal house recently. Someone commented, "It looks nice, but how is this 400 items? This doesn't look like 400 items, this looks like 250 items." I'm like, well, you see,
backstage.
I have 3 floors, custom made, and all of them are bed meted. So I've got like sandwiches of beds and floors, and like I've got, you know, the flooring mats, then a layer of beds, then more flooring mats for the floor above, and it's all cleverly hidden and whatever, so they couldn't tell where the items were hidden, but they're there, and I made bed sandwiches, y'all.
It is so good. How did the name bed meta come around? Because that's like...
So, okay.
I don't even know
I think that's an FD thing. I want to attribute that to FD because, like, FD general chat loves to talk about meta. So, like, there was Farmhouse meta, and there was Poop House Gang meta, and there was Bread Gang. Yeah, Bread Gang! Bread Gang meta.
Gang is there's even a meta for the Bread Gang? Okay, I got it.
Yeah, there's a meta for Bread Gang. Like, and then you know, the Cheese Rat came out, so then there was Cheese Gang, and of course the bed meta just naturally evolved from that because everyone started using a ton of it. Yeah, Fang. There were tons of metas. Yes, Cask Rack meta is still widely followed. Many fans.
Yeah. the peak is already over for the cask racket.
No!
Cask
We're gonna make cask racks gate again. Oh my goodness, that is so hard to say. You're actually right. Cask rack is hard to say. We're making cask racks great again when we bring Fel on next week.
There's still some things I am doing with them too at the moment, but currently I'm still in the non-wood mindset. I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, you're all metal and tech right now,
It's
right?
so hard.
I was gonna say you can get all 4 of those beds at once.
You know, Dylan, don't at me. Let me just work.
Look, it's a miracle that she's using a loft at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Just look- Also-
Ashen loves her Riviera
I'm doing
wall
this for
shelf.
you guys.
What I really love about the double feather bed is just the black metal part here. Of course, you'll still have the white little, the blanket part there.
Yeah.
Sticking out.
And
But
that's
yeah, it
exactly why I went so overkill on partition.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Can I?
Show
If I
us the
just-
marble partition though. A single marble partition would cover all of that. Just saying.
Oh, I can't.
I mean, if you like they're aligned now, a single rectangular partition covers. But obviously,
Oh Jesus!
I'm stuck.
Just placed inside you.
Whoa.
Whoa! I didn't mean it like that. Jesus.
Hold on, we gotta turn the Ashen's working over here now, yeah.
I'm confused what she's trying to do.
Am I gonna?
A
Am I just
coffered
coffered ceiling? Yeah. Will it
Yeah.
look okay with this though?
Sure, why not?
That looks good. I like it.
The marble in the wood? I
It's
trust
not
you guys.
centered.
Just
I'm
look,
just
you're an
I'm just
innovator.
covering the beams. Yeah. I mean it's not
Yeah, that's
centered.
good.
I didn't even do
Well-
anything.
She goes, what do you mean it's not centered?
Do you see how one side of one bed slopes earlier
Oh
than the
yeah,
other?
this was grid snap. Hold on.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because it will cover the entirety of that part anyways.
Yeah, it's like got a thick
completely
bottom.
matters.
Having everything perfectly centered is triggering my OCD.
I mean, you don't know how many times I took half my ceiling down and read it.
Yeah, same. At some point. Did you guys legit turn around the fucking couch just
We
to
gotta
watch
watch!
on this side?
It's dinner and a show right now. I've got my spaghetti, and we're watching Ashen float partition.
Oh my god, live action.
I swear, I haven't done any glitching in months, and now you guys are putting so much pressure on me.
Oh, you're
That's-
doing great. You can do this with Grid Snap.
Yeah, your increments are weak.
Yeah.
Your increments are weak.
Hey, you know what? Just let me.
Good Snap. Good Snap.
She's doing great now. Well, like she's making bigger steps now because this is not a rectangular partition. The other partitions are easier to float. They have bigger steps in between them to float.
Thank you for the follow, Justin.
Thank you so much for the follow, Justin.
Alright, so that's how it looks so far. Ah man, so you're gonna make me do coffered ceilings and cover all the black. You know, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alright,
And then make-
continue your talk.
Thank you for the follow, Lily.
Thank you so much for
Just
the follow.
skirting around the outside.
Yeah, so like the coffered ceiling would technically, wouldn't you actually have 2 to either side as well?
Yeah.
I mean, you could do we'll show you first. How about this? We'll show you the item-friendly version, but it's really pretty. Like the coffered ceiling is such a good look. I love it, and the marble partitions made it like really. I don't even know how to say this. Like the first time I saw someone do this, it was Fang, going wild with white rectangular partitions, and just like he had layered them and made like this really pretty crown molding, and I was like, whoa, there's more we can do with this. And then he started doing these elegant ceilings and stuff, but like the white rectangular partition meta, and that's a mouthful, by the way,
Yeah. Oh my god,
Oh,
why
it's
does
gonna
rectangular
glitch.
partition?
was yeah, you didn't think about that, did you? It's okay, it's fine. It's just the problem, the big problem that I have with the marble partition, I was getting to this, like this, it does this beautiful coffered, and it has like the like pretty carved like angles to it and stuff, with lots of pretty texture, but the biggest problem with it is the texture glitching. When you have it all snapped on the same level, they will texture glitch if you put them just offset just a little bit.
I did it perfect.
Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous.
Sometimes I noticed that in BJ's build, like while the ceiling, the walls look so perfect, you just see sometimes like the little strips, but you just can't work around it sadly, because you just need to have a different layers of textures, or else it's gonna glitch the shit out of there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just kind of a limitation of the game, but there are lots of really clever ways to get around it, like what Ashen just did. Ashen, if you look at it head-on from this way, and like just look down the beam, it looks perfectly smooth.
Camera immediately has a seizure.
Producer, please bring the camera over here.
Oh, whoops.
So, if you look down the beam from this angle, you don't see any of the texture glitching and you don't see any seam. But if you look at it from this angle, Ashen has it offset by like a single pixel, and you can see that tiny little white line that's keeping it from texture glitching. But yeah, it's a really tiny little detail that it makes a big difference. You know, if it's a live-in house, if it's just for pictures, like if it's a G-Post studio, or it's just supposed to be like an artistic outlet for you, you know, and that's obviously awesome. Like if you're using housing as an artistic outlet, don't let anyone tell you differently. Like, oh, the texture, like this, shut up. I'm doing this for
just
fun,
enjoy
you know?
it.
But yeah, just enjoy it for what it is. It's art. But if it's a live-in house and it's bothering you, you can always offset it by a single pixel in a direction that isn't widely viewed. So like obviously no one's gonna be like standing at the wall looking down the marble angle on the coffer and like trying to see whether there's a seam there or not. No, they're gonna look at it from the way that they come in, or the way that you would sit, or you know, stuff like that. Like stuff to consider if you're trying to avoid those little seams and stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, if you build on 2 floors, Laura mentioned that, which is also a good tip. Using partitions is nice and all, but very, very high.
They are. What I
so-
wouldn't give for the marble half partition, right?
Dude, fucking same. Like every partition, just like have it in width and height, like each once, because the half partitions is just we need it.
I'm looking for that quarter rectangular.
The quarter rectangular. I just call it
Dude, honestly,
I just want a spaghetti noodle, guys.
On it, the layering you
Same.
could do with that thing.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Dude, imagine like if they give us nothing but just a long rectangular partition, but just like the width of maybe like 10 centimeters, and just as high as a normal partition.
See, I got
Minecraft.
I got really excited when the white screen came out, because I was like, oh sweet, I can actually have like a flat white part, I can have a flat rectangle. And then, you know, it turns out that A, it's a different color, B, it's not actually completely flat.
Yeah.
Rye made a good point in chat. You can always help yourself feel better about the little imperfections like the seams and the texture glitching and stuff. You remind yourself that even real life housing has little things off, and boy, let me tell you what, I have patched so many holes in the drywall at my cafe, and it got to the point where I'm like, I'm not sanding this mud. Like, it is what it is. I'm gonna paint over it, and there's just gonna be a little bump there, and that's just.
We legit
It's a
have
wall.
exactly that. We have exactly that in the fucking stage panels sometimes. You know, the cursed hole.
Ah, that's the cursed spot.
Yeah, the cursed spot is exactly that.
You know, that is so true, because I was just thinking today, like I was at my house, and like my in-game house, and I misaligned some handles on my wardrobe, but I'm not gonna change it because it looks kind of lived in, I guess.
I know what
Yeah.
you mean. Me personally, that would drive me
comfy.
nuts. I would tear everything apart to fix that, because I hate imperfections. And when it comes to those things, it's just like having a pixel wrong. I'm taking everything I floated down if it needs to be fixed, because, man, let me tell you, when I build things and clutter up things, and then I notice an imperfection of the ceiling, fuck all of that. I'm taking a screenshot, tearing it apart, putting the thing there, fixing it, and putting everything back into place, even if it takes
That is
like, hours.
dedication.
I was just going to say, since we're on about seams, you notice there's a lot if you work in like rectangular partitions. Some seams are genuinely unavoidable. The game will not allow you to put this item in the same position as this one. It will not happen.
Yeah, it is sometimes.
Isn't that what we? That measurement that we took of the white rectangular partition, that it's like 1 pixel off on one side?
Yeah, but I don't even trust anything anymore.
But you also can't rotate it to fix that. So
yeah, it's hard to fix it.
Unless you literally place them with grid snap, you know. But the thing is, you can sync them into each other and stuff to try and offset it as best you can. But some seams are just impossible to get rid of.
Some of them, for sure.
And sometimes the texture is really annoying, even if you have it.
Oh my goodness, when they're sunk into each other and I can see the texture, I'm just like, no, please. But
just
again,
one small
that's
part.
something Fang was saying. The dye really helped. Like,
yeah, dye it dark.
Yeah, dye it a dark, like a nice deep color, and you won't see that. I mean, you'll lose seams, you'll lose texture, glitching. Like, dark colors actually really help mask a lot.
Yeah, the dark color removes the texture, like you mentioned. It sucks up all of the color that is being added to the item. If it's light, if you take a look at some wooden items, for example, if you dye them white, you see every single pore in that width. But if you dye them black, it's like a clean surface. Like, it's not even a wooden texture. I'm using that currently for, like, the build I'm working on at the moment. It's not supposed to have wooden items, right? But because I dyed it all the way black, you don't even see it, and it looks like a flat surface with metal, which is really, really good.
So what you're saying is, dye everything black, turn all the lights down to 0, it'll be perfect.
Yes.
That is the meta. That is the ultimate housing. Dye everything jet black, turn the lights to 0, cover all the windows.
Ah yes, my aesthetic. Perfect.
The quarantine.
Oh no!
I called the depression meta.
Yikes! No. Call it the what are those rooms where you go to relax? The
sensory deprivation.
Sensory room.
Yeah, the sensory deprivation room.
It's not even a room, like you float in fucking salt water as if
it's like
you're
a
not
pod.
existent. Yeah, it's like a pod. It's like floating in the void and for hours, and you just wake up and you just stare into the light and you're not sure if you're alive or not.
Oh my goodness, that sounds awful. Never mind, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
What is it like?
So basically, I was there for an hour. So I was it was a pod, like a giant fucking jelly bean or something. I just opened it. I felt like I was sitting down in some kind of spacecraft. It was amazing. So I only had my shorts and like I had also goggles that make it darker. So I was given the option to either not wear the goggles or wear them. So I didn't because I wanted to see what it was like and without being like, I didn't like the feeling around my head. And then they closed the tank and it was, even closing my eyes was lighter than that, and I was very scared. At first I was like, oh shit,
was there a safe word, Div?
The what?
Is there a safe word? Can you get out?
Sorry, what? I cut off.
Could you get out?
Can you get out? Can you tell them you want out?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can. If there's someone sitting on the outside just waiting, but you hear nothing. Like, it is absolute sight. You hear your own blood through your veins and stuff like that.
Wow. No. Okay, so the first time I ever heard about those, though, like, this is like gonna be a really weird segue back to housing. I don't mean it, but the first time I've ever heard about those sensory deprivation pods was in Sims, like the original Sims.
What the fuck?
They had them for like spas or something. I don't know. Like, it was wild. I was like, what is this? This like futuristic looking. F in chat for Fang's builds. Don't worry, most of my fingers. No! Oh, Fang, what happened to your build?
They went down. He mentioned that guys, because they're gonna be they're gonna go down. That's what he said a few days ago.
On something new?
No, he just wanted to wipe the palette clean for the next things.
I feel that. Look at all the F's. That's cute.
Fang's builds are like a sand
What
mandala.
Is this song? I don't know. Let's hear it.
Oh, what song?
Hang on.
Oh, it's on the podcast. I don't know. Hold on.
She gotta look it up. Give me a second. I'll be right back, guys.
It was.
Sorry, Kitty. We have like a whole playlist, so yeah.
Pretty sure that's it.
Billy, you get to attach to your builds. I feel that. I mean, like, what's amazing to me is I'm realizing that a lot of the JP designers that I follow and admire so much, they all have like builds that stay up for very long periods of time. Like, only recently have I gone to a Nora Rappy house, and it used to be a build that I saw once, and then I went back and he had just finally like changed it to a more recent one, and then they seem to leave their builds up and like just build in different houses for her a lot, whereas I notice for people over here, I mean obviously we do commissions and stuff, but when we're working on our personal, which does anyone feel this way? Like when you're working on your personal, it's kind of like your baby, I guess. Like the commissions are always like you want to try something cool, you want to try something new, you want to make the person happy, you want them to you want to give them the house that they want, the style that they want. But like my personal is always like I need to try to make this exactly what I want. And so like when I take it down, for lack of a better word, it's personal. Like I really have to have a reason to want to take it down.
Ironically?
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, Div, you're probably the same way. Like when I was taking commissions, and I was doing commissions so much, I preferred doing commissions and kind of left my private and like house on like the back burner and didn't really care.
I was about to say that. It is the exact opposite as Rhapsody for me.
Really?
I don't give a shit about my personal because I don't have anyone to fund it for me.
Oh.
No, so as you said, you want to give them a house that you want to feel good about, right? And when I do commissions, it's a bit of like always need to be like, I'm not doing commissions as other people. I say, if I don't have a creative freedom and you just give me stuff, I'm not gonna do it because I just don't feel like making something like making big compromises because someone wants like an open big area or something. And I noticed it in the last few commissions. But in the end, I always build stuff for them, like if they have suggestions and stuff like that. And I build it in a way that I feel very comfortable about it. But my personal, I just never feel too interested about it because I approach it the same way I approached commissions, as I give it 100% all the time. Because I wouldn't be building at all otherwise. Because it's hard to explain that if I'm not happy 100% with my builds, I'm not gonna have motivation to even work with that. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like that's been a thing that has been pretty consistent with me, honestly, during all my housing career.
I feel like what you're describing with commissions is actually somewhere between a house donation and a... Bang doesn't really work on commissions, right? He mostly works on donations, effectively.
I was gonna say, yeah, Div just wants a patron. he wants someone to fund his creativity. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can build it for you if you give me the stuff, and you'll keep it. Like it's not for me. I'm not gonna live in here. You can live in here and use it as you please. I just want to be the one decorating it, basically. So yeah, I approach commissions much differently. Even though
says there's no worst critic. Like you are your own worst critic, so our personals will always probably be the hardest ones.
Especially if you're trying to perfect it as much as possible.
That's also a problem if you're taking on house donations, right? Because you're effectively just doing your personal over, and then at a certain point you have to step away and be like, "Send mine no more."
Absolutely. How many do I have to do?
You have one more thing to cover.
But that looks amazing already.
How many? Am I done yet?
Wait, what? How did she just get an achievement in RFCS?
Now she's crafting. She was over here sawing stuff.
Oh my god, I was. Oh, okay, I see now.
Now she's the how do I put this? She's here for. Oh my gosh, why can't I talk? She's multitasking. That's the word. She's multitasking. She's doing her crafting while also watching a live show. It's like Netflix and chill, but HGXIV and craft.
We have different HGXIV's approaches. We have After Dark. We have the Netflix and chill and net or.
Well, bye, Naoshi. Bring the bunny this time.
Yeah, exactly. Queen knows she's busy with her kingdom.
Are you gonna bring your little Lala bunny? I hope so.
Please do. Oh yeah, this is exactly what we mean. Just Rhapsody, come upstairs for a second. Do you see?
Oh yeah. We should probably show the aftermath.
Remember the screenshot where they were like looking up and like.
Dude, okay, so yes, I did. I took a screenshot in Kyoko's house. Kyoko's
yeah, you did.
Well, like one person was standing up top, and a bunch of us were down in the coffered ceiling, and it puts the lotion in the back.
Yo, Rhapsody, we should put like your monitor here, and this is gonna be our personal cubicle. This is where HGXIV works. Yeah,
this is my cubicle, and both of us get the same size cubicle, even though I'm a Lala and you're a Ro. That's equality in the workplace, right?
Hey, Ashen, come up and show this to the stream, actually.
Poor Ashen. Ashen, stop what you're doing, Ashen.
Just show it.
What are you guys doing? Where are you? Up here?
We're in the upstairs of the coffered ceiling.
Yeah, we're in the working space in the cubicles.
Where are you? How do I get up there?
Upstairs. Like
up the literal stairs. You remember those things we don't use?
Oh, I see.
Just putting a monitor here and some computers, and we're all good.
That's depressing.
All set. Just need like a little door, feeling like in one of those Japanese.
Let's build you a tiny little door.
Manga reader or something, whatever that was called.
Manga reader?
Yeah, there's like stores that give you like your own space as like a cubicle and exactly that size with a computer, and you can close the doors to have some free time. People even live in those.
I've seen that. Yeah, people rent it out.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Oh, the ceiling's so pretty. I actually like the wood and marble.
Okay, I'm done.
Woohoo! It's so beautiful.
All right, let's build around it so we can close it up.
Yeah, hide the aftermath.
Hide what it cost.
Should I go with some smooth stage panel walls?
More marble.
More marble? Okay.
Oh, there you can see some like parts that are glitching, for example, but other really fine because the texture is like 1 pixel lower, so it doesn't glitch. Like in the center here is side is a bit glitchy, but you can fix it extremely easily. Also, if you guys want to get more depth in, even if you float one side, like let's say the horizontal line's a bit higher, you get some more depth because it looks like it ties into the support structure of the beams going through the middle vertically, and that's really cool sometimes.
I love this whole coffered ceiling look, and I went all out on one with the upper, like one level higher with the marble.
Yeah,
like,
I was considering
that. So you have
that.
the lower and then the one up higher. Oh gosh, it was so beautiful, and it was so many slots. I had to take off one layer all the way around, and I think it saved me like 70 slots.
Oh Jesus Christ.
It was a lot, but like it looked so good. Ugh, I just want to go for it. So.
Thank you so much for follows, Senator Melinkar, oh god, and Kimmy the Beat. Thank you so much for follows.
Look,
I'm closed off.
Goodbye.
There's something I wanted to discuss in regards to obviously ceilings, because spending the whole stream building ceilings, kind of like a how and why do it thing.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously, I think we're kind of gathering at this point they can get pretty slot heavy at certain points, and some people don't obviously kind of want to. Best example I can think of like the benefit that a dropped ceiling, kitchens, overhead cupboards, merchant shelf.
Yeah.
Suddenly you've got the thing halfway in the end. The basic house is the walls are really high, right? They're unrealistically high relative to an actual house. You want to merge, you drop this. you want to have an item floating in the air and hide a bit of it, hide it inside your ceiling.
So much problems when I see people struggle when they post screenshots. I just see kitchen setup, but like it ends at some point, and the entire space above it needs to be filled with something, and they're just filled with like wall planters or something. Windows.
Always, like I remember. Oh my gosh! Before we had the loft glitch, like I had this super cute kitchen, and then you had like the backwards, you know, wall-mounted cupboards or whatever, and like those were your upper limit, and then just above that you just had imitation square windows because you had to fill something in that ceiling, like all the way up to the ceiling.
So definitely don't just go for like the entire ceiling, the entire height of it, and cover it with whatever, like as you mentioned before, the imitation windows. Just make a thick ceiling because it's gonna help you a lot. It's not gonna look as empty.
I was gonna say, yeah, it doesn't feel empty. You get to achieve like these really cool looks, like having lower hanging chandeliers. Like, say you wanted to have a lower hanging chandelier right over a dining room table for like that really cool chic look. That's basically impossible to do unless you lower the ceiling, because I guess unless you build a false floor up to the actual natural chandelier, which of course you can, and that looks awesome. But like, the lowering the ceiling is also another option, and it just it opens up a whole new world of custom, essentially.
Yeah, what I was about to mention is the best thing for the ceiling is the fact that you can build custom structures however you want, without ugly parts of the static ceiling cutting into it at some point. Because I can't count the times that I saw a very clean modern build with a Shirogane ceiling cutting into it. It is ruined many builds that I've seen in the past few weeks and months. Like, that would have been amazing with a custom ceiling. Of course, I know the item slots can be heavy, but we showed you guys that you can have up to like 3 items for like a large area. It's not that bad, and it's gonna add so much. And just being able to hide the chandelier, like you mentioned, having custom lights there, just the alignment and symmetry is gonna profit from it so much. You have no idea how good it will be until you actually put it in place.
Oh, you know, that's a good point. What kind of chandeliers would go with these types of ceilings?
Honestly, I think the fish lamp.
The fish lamp?
You know exactly what I mean.
Like... Oh, yes.
Yeah.
See,
okay. Well, I mean, because I don't consider it the fish. It's like that's the swag. That's the chandelier swag.
I love it because this is a perfect example of cabinet setting. It would just be amazing. Do you have it around?
I might have it in my house. Hold on.
Okay. It's just love how it took you a second to realize what. Yes, you realize.
I was like, wow, this is a language barrier.
So what he's talking about, guys, what he's talking about is the Mozilla.
No, don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Why? It's a big idea.
We have it in a break.
Okay, listen. I want people to be confused about it. Then you just show it off and like have big moments, you know?
It's the Mozilla. What is that word? What is this fish?
This is why
Mazlaya? Mazlaya Marlin?
Azalea?
This is the fish lantern. Nothing else.
But it's not a lantern. It's literally just the chain swag.
Okay, hang on. Okay, it's the lantern fish.
Oh, you know, Ria's right. Hold on.
Ria, we have a trick for that.
Do I have one? Hold on.
So we have a trick for lining up rugs to make a good, even, unseamed fake ceiling. So the wooden mats, is that what they're called? The flooring mats are a really popular item right now for ceilings. And Xenothan kind of clued us into using the Crystarium stove because it has a tabletop, like, really high surface, and if you use that while you're lofting, what Laura's saying, it will create a very seamless, even top. But correct? Yeah, exactly what Kai is saying. Correct depends on relativity. As a Lalafell, I make very low ceilings for myself. I want to feel like I don't have to climb a ladder every time I want to reach a cupboard. But if, say, a Viera or a Rogadin lived in the house, you'd want to make sure that the ceiling, you know, they're not hitting their head on rafters and stuff. So this is what Ashen's doing now is the wooden mat, the flooring mat, and it makes a beautiful ceiling, but it is very difficult to manually line it up unless you're using the Crystarium stove, because it has very, very visible seams for whatever reason, like more so than anything else that I've found. Like the seams are like incredibly bad.
I'm a bit confused.
So I was gonna say, we're talking about correct heights for a ceiling. If you're looking at from like an immersion standpoint, stand up in your room right now. The roof of your ceiling probably isn't even twice your height.
That depends. Oh yeah, that depends from where you live. I live in Europe, and my ceiling.
You cut off, Div.
Oh, sorry. I said I live in Europe, so and in old building too. So my ceilings are as high as the mansion houses in Final Fantasy.
You have very, very high ceiling.
Yeah, but that's because where I live.
How many? What do you meters? How many meters is? Oh my god! How many feet?
I wouldn't know, but it's like easily triple my size. So I'm like 175 meters. Sorry for the Americans.
You're 175 meters?
I mean, 1.75 meters.
Okay.
What is...
I'm pretty sure conversion doesn't work this way because that's really tall.
Yeah, no, but it's like very, very high. But what I wanted to mention earlier is like, I never use the Crystarium stuff because literally fucking grid snap is saving me. Everything lines up perfectly for me using the floor mats. And the good thing about it is, when it comes to the right height, when we're talking about the, for example, the blank partitions, correct? It lines up perfectly with the wooden part there, so it covers that part, because, man, I hate it so much. That wooden part up there, on partitions, just give me a fucking stage panel that I can put a partition or wallpaper on. That'll be amazing. But at the moment I just can't. And I'm really pissed about that, quite honestly. But honestly, covering that part, that wooden part, is perfect height for me personally. I will always suggest that in a setting where you can afford to do it.
The loft, you mean?
No, the normal partition.
Part?
The wooden part of the partition. The normal blank partitions.
The norm... Oh! Like,
where you can put
Blade or the Riviera?
Yeah,
oh,
okay. And I use the floor mats of the height where the wooden part or the metal part starts, so you see where the wallpaper ends, the fake ceiling starts. You know what I mean?
You know what I
mean? I like the different levels of ceiling. So like in my house I have like really tall ceilings in my great room, but then like 8-foot ceilings in the bedrooms, you know what I mean? Like, so it's big and it even slopes and has like rafters up in the great room. So it's like a very high lofted ceiling, but in the bedrooms it's a little more cozy, so you've got the smaller 8-foot ceiling. So, you know, I'm 5 foot, so you know there's only like 3 feet between me and the ceiling, but it's a bedroom. You're there to lay down anyway, so like it's all relative to what you want, but I wouldn't ever say like there's a correct height. It's just having different levels it's relative, and it makes it more interesting when you have more than one single height of ceiling throughout the house, you know, if you have different ones.
Yeah, talking American terms, the second floor of a house tends to have lower ceilings anyway, generally speaking. Also, in terms of like footing a ceiling in-game, you probably don't really, unless you know you are a Lala and you want a tiny house, the minimum float height of a flooring mat, you probably don't really want to go lower than that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. There you go.
What? How did that happen?
Why are you doing me like this?
Oh,
how
because
did that happen?
It snaps to the
It snaps to the. Oh no, The stage panel's over here. It's snapping to the loft.
Partition.
Oh, the log partition. Oh, I see.
So
you're right.
if you would remove the log partition, it would work. It doesn't matter
so
as much.
it has to be something else.
Well, just go the other way with it.
I did.
You can, if you wouldn't use the
What?
log partition,
Oh.
you could use.
Well,
You can use another
Yeah, just
partition.
turn it perpendicular.
No, but it's gonna be like that on both sides.
yeah. Doesn't
No.
the log partition have snap on both sides?
Yeah, it is.
No,
it is.
I mean,
Double-sided.
turn the marlin Oh, I've elevated.
Wow.
Turn the marlin perpendicular.
Oh, so put it on the thinner wooden loft.
Yeah, put it on
rafter.
the stage panel rafter, not the middle.
Aw.
Oh, she says.
Her OCDs doesn't like that.
No.
I mean, if you want, you could float another partition, no matter what it is, there because it's not gonna snap because the lower parts of the partitions are non-snappable.
Alright, well, you know what?
That's true.
We won't waste
Not
too much
now.
time on this because we have like 2 other ceilings to do.
Exactly.
Alright.
Going?
We are going to a skylight.
Skylight, yay!
If someone else
yeah,
wants to
should
build
we-
and I can like chill.
I would, but it shows all the stuff that you're doing on the screen. It's really nice. But I mean, I will. Which one do you want me to do?
Let's see. I'm kind of a fan of a skylight with like beams.
With beams. Okay.
Do you want to show maybe an example of it? Because we have some.
Most recent, I was thinking of Dayu's because I really loved it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I was.
Let's see. Yeah, Dayu's skylight, and didn't Lore have a really iconic one?
I posted one by Dooley on Twitter, which is the night sky one with stars.
Yes.
Just why don't you pull up those pictures while I build this?
Yeah, it's the one in files.
Okay, so which one do you want me to pull up first? The starry sky or what?
Yeah, the star sky. Let's do that first.
Starry sky.
It's really good. It's by 14 Dooley, I think it's her name. Amazing designer, really cool designs, very immersive ones too. And that skylight using the oh god, what was the item even?
The
The undersea
riches.
spoils?
Yeah.
I think yeah, something like that. Something yeah, exactly.
It's like just gold and stuff, gold and sparkle.
If you have a picture of that, Kai, I would like to see that actually, because I can't imagine it right now.
Oh god, it's huge. But there.
Hang on, it's still loading for me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this is amazing. I really like that. It's really. I like how it's not just black because that's what people usually would go for night skies, right? But it's like this bluish color, so it's a bit more realistic.
Like that, but
You can
smaller, Kaisa.
Yeah. Oh my god. What I personally like, you can still see the wood texture, right? But like, it doesn't matter as much because I don't know, it just still looks amazing. The floating glade lamp there too.
What are they using? There's a chain connected to that lantern, right? Or is it just something embedded in the cask rack? Can't tell with the dimensions.
Chain?
Do you
There's
see
some
that?
chain.
I see that. Huh.
Oh, you
What
mean
is that item? Oh no, it's definitely the. You see the top? It's the candelabras. It
Is it?
just must be some interesting like lighting hitting it.
No, that's just pixelation.
Wow,
Yeah.
it really changes
Yeah,
the way it
yeah,
looks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like a
that's
cool
definitely
rope.
still a banner candle. It does. It looks like a metal chain for sure.
I'd love to have that. That looks really good. Yeah, that's another great example of starry sky because I don't think like having a night sky. We've seen it on a vertical plane a lot because of Ashton's astrologium. Is it called?
The night sky that I did.
Yeah, but it's like on a flat wall. But I haven't seen it on like the ceiling. Sadly.
So, do you remember one of the very first things we did on HGXIV, like, we went to Leah Grassland's house, and we could not figure out what she was using for those adorable little stars, and it was the Halloween.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
I loved that one. Ooh, that one's one of Laura's.
Yeah, that's one of Laura's. Yeah, that's one of, I think just using the tiles as the white part around it, and then literally just, using the different kinds of imitation windows too, or is it just one kind? Because it looks like
the Fool's Threshold.
but
Just
like
layered, yeah.
one only, right? Is there something
No,
else?
they're just layered on top of each other so that they have the
I
different.
see.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and on top of that, another floor tile, for example. Just the dome in ones. Okay, yeah. So with Fool's Thresholds.
And then the verdure just poking through the wall planters looks so natural and beautiful, combined with the that particular chandelier.
I just love how the light comes through. That is such a good effect.
Ashton, will you drop that Crystarium stove for me?
I'll drop it like it's hot, girl.
Thank you.
As it is, it's a stove.
God.
Thank you so much for follow, Alchemist.
Sorry you followed during that.
Oh gosh, wow.
Because it's the stove.
I gotta adjust this.
Whoa. The verdant partitions there. I haven't seen that one. Wait, Dayu?
Dayu?
When? Oh, that's the one she posted today, right?
Yeah, girl.
Oh dang! I have to go visit.
It looks so
like, literally
good.
just logged on. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Wow, Dayu, please.
Yeah, I'm not totally a fan and sold on verdant partitions particularly, but I really love how this looks.
I'm really enjoying the intentional offset of the bit. Having that center beam be a little bit lower, it speaks to me.
And the rest of the ceiling's so layered. I love it.
So this was like a little chic witch's cabin, if I remember the tweet correctly, and that is like spot on for what I would consider like that theme. So
Going on to like skylights and stuff, it kind of brings me to a point about actually using ceilings as because obviously quite often you'll get people that you'll do a very basic ceiling. Wooden loft ceilings are incredibly popular, so at troop state skylights proper give you something to really look, and especially with the examples we saw from Law, she tends to work them around the actual chandelier as well. Meaning then you don't have to mess around with blocking the light of the chandelier.
That is very true. Sometimes using it for your advantage, you're just better off using it for actual ceiling instead of hiding it.
Yeah, give people a reason to look up.
Yeah, because the thing is as well, obviously with the chandelier, as was discussed last week, but like a quick refresher, if you want to block the light of it, you can like put a loft underneath it, right? But then you need to actually have your ceiling lower than that. Depending upon kind of what you want to use and the actual minimum float height of it, sometimes it can be kind of complicated to actually have the space to do that. Because, the bottom of a chandelier to block it, it's lower than you think.
It depends. I always switch to the, I think it is the Vera, I think that's the goblet one, the very short one. I use that a lot to block it off because that's just like very high up compared to every other chandelier. And
the gold saucer one is very flat too.
Yeah, true.
It is, but if you're trying to block the light, it's still at the same height as everything else.
That is true.
Because I used it in my house anyway. The ceiling in mine isn't particularly low. Couldn't get a loft in there.
Is this the part where you covered it with a domino?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
And you still get light breaking through on the edge of it. At least, I mean, that way it looks intentional. But
yeah, exactly. Oh, he had like a little domino with like a black box with like 3 white cement dots in them.
Yeah, The modern
one.
lighting. Yes. Yeah,
I like
Ryan,
that
it's
a
one
lot.
of mine. That was like an old one, but I loved it so much. It's still up. Like, I just refuse to let the owner tear it down.
It's
Luckily,
so
my friend.
good. It's really, really gorgeous.
Probably my biggest claim to fame here is that I made this one, and BJ was like, "Wow, that's cool. I'm gonna make one too." And I was like,
Yeah, that was like
"Thank
the
you.
biggest
Thank
accomplishment.
you for liking my work."
You know what I noticed once? I think someone mentioned even building with a ceiling, you don't it anyway because your eyes are drawn to the things on the floor, and I so disagree to that because if you put things in the way it's supposed to be intentional on the ceiling, like you mentioned before, actually putting emphasis onto it, you will look up. You're kind of forced to, honestly.
This picture that we're on right now actually is a very perfect example of this. Since ceiling is
The majority of the
a
cover.
single. Well, it's all a custom ceiling, but it's all it's one level. But in order to draw your eye up, you can see how not only does his wall design draw your eye up, but the level of the lofted bedroom area draws your eye up and forces you to look at the ceiling, you know, when you're in the lower part of the lower area. When you're looking at the rest of the house, now you're like, oh, whoa, there's something up there, you know?
The way I kind of see it, you wouldn't really skimp on the floor in a house, right? You don't not look. It's the floor of the sky. Gotta look at it.
Oh, hang on. I have something for this. Where did it go?
Oh no.
Where did it go? Hold on. Guys, I hired a carpenter, but apparently she'll only work on walls, ceiling joists, door frames, and windows. Floors are just beneath her.
Jesus Christ.
I hate that so much.
Oh gosh, sorry.
What I wanted to mention is, I think the reason also why you notice the ceiling so much is because there's just a lack of walls, because it's a very open room plan. So you are kind of forced to see the entirety of the room itself, because if you would put a wall next there and break up that pattern, honestly I wouldn't notice it as much as with a giant area like that is entirely covering the ceiling, and you're just forced to look at it. Your
I think
eyes
this
are
is
drawn
the thing with skirting as well, because obviously skirting tends to hang a little bit lower than the ceiling. You see a wall and there's a bit of skirting on it, you kind of tend to just your eyes flick up naturally.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, I love that one. It looks like a trellis. It's so beautiful.
I really liked that. I remember you actually working on this, and you were struggling so much because you first wanted it on the floor too.
Yeah, I put it on the floor. I actually wanted it on like a geometric shape on the wall, but that's impossible to do it at this point, and it really bummed me out. So I was like, what can I do? What can I do? I'll just do it on the ceiling in the same design.
Is it impossible?
At that time it was, but I would just love it.
Do it, Ashen. Do it.
Just do it.
Paper bags.
This has now become a Make Ashen's Dream a reality stream, and we're just gonna watch her try to make this shape on a.
God, I would love it. That's what I had in that little window space initially, but then nothing was working. Nothing goes sideways, diagonal enough. It just, I'll figure it out one day.
Just do it. So, I need some white dye. Snow White.
Trading your apps.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still working on. I'm almost there with this. Thank you. With this little skylight. I'm gonna make mine kind of like Lore's. Is that what you were thinking? Doing a skylight kind of like Lore's.
In general.
Kai, you can't find the skylight you were talking about? You said it was like, oh hey, that's mine. That's drawing on the walls. That's not a ceiling.
Well, you can sort of see it because you were using troop stages. I don't have any good shots of your ceiling at that time.
Oh. Yeah, I was using troop stages, but like that was actually that's a really good tie into what Synt was just saying about how you can use a big item to cover a lot of space and just do a very basic ceiling, and that's what I did. I used like 3 troop stages and covered a ton of space. And yeah, that was it. That was my ceiling. That one little white rectangular partition there in the middle was covering the seam where the like wood trim is on the dark wood trim that you can't dye on the troop station.
God, that fucking trim.
Yeah, that's
Honestly, it's gonna be the end of me. It's the sole reason why I don't like using a lot. Because if you have a custom shape, damn, that's just gonna screw you over so much, honestly. I'm glad we have the floor mats now, the wooden ones, because they are so seamless and the texture goes into each other.
Oh, there's the coffered! There's the marble coffered that I did! That was the only spot where I kept it. Like, I took it down in the rest of the build, but there, I had to keep it over the vanity, because the vanity was, like, Kyoko's big thing. Like, he's the fashion reporter.
Oh, right, this is Kyoko's house, right?
Yeah! So that's the mahogany bunk beds again. I love that, and they dye so beautifully. Look at that
Really
pastel
good.
pink, y'all. That's the big flex, the pastel.
I really like that. Yo, can I actually look at... Hang on. Now that we went into the multi-layered ceiling part, you want to talk about the chocolate bar boy?
I'm getting it right now, yeah.
Gosh, that one was so good. I apparently have run out of stage.
Yeah, it's so little. Dang, I need a high-res one.
Oh my god,
that is good Diva gold right there.
There's a high-res version of it too, in white. Next to it, I think. Oh, this looks like wow, the size of them are like town size. They
need one wrap.
There we go.
Do you need more?
Oh no, that's good. Thank you.
Ah, there it is. Yes. There's
Oh,
so many
goodness.
layers to like you have where it starts. You have a second one, you have a third one, and then a fourth one.
I cannot. It literally looks like chocolate. It looks so creamy and yummy.
It's so good. And you notice how it's not all the same color. Like the first 2 levels are lighter brown than the last 2 layers, which is perfect because that adds the depth that is not created by the sheer amount of levels, which there is, of course, but it's also supported by the colors being darker. And it adds so much because it artificially makes it look more like better lighted out. Like the depth is better created in that way.
Yeah.
And it's just so smart.
I am super into artificial shadowing at the moment. I'm doing it on like everything I do.
I saw in your walls you use different shades of ways going to darker colors, and that looked so good.
Do you remember that wardrobe that I built? The one which is entirely rectangular?
Yes, I do.
rebuilt that
With
recently.
that little shading, yeah.
Yeah, I rebuilt it recently, and aside from like the little shading, like the edges of each door now is dyed slightly darker, so it all looks like it's kind of following into it.
That's so perfect.
Dang, dude.
I wanted to mention this earlier, like, don't use the same colors for a ceiling, in my opinion, because adding a depth is not just created by colors or by like some MXAO set, but actually with the colors you use in the game. And this is another ceiling by Fang, which adds multiple layers again, and a beautiful, beautiful texture.
The mummers, how do you say that? Mackelage?
Yeah, but
the lacy, beautiful.
I just call it makeup table. That's like the simplest stuff.
But like now it's confusing because there's like a makeup box. So.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Something I was going to say on the last picture, obviously skip past it now. If you'd looked at it, the bit which runs down the center is actually like the center beam in the center is lower than the ones on the side, and it was like a perfectly symmetrical ceiling, and it like drew. Yeah, if you see the center one, it's lower, and it like draws your eyes into the sections.
Oh my gosh! Like both center ones, so like it makes that cross beam in the middle, and then all the other ones are ornamental. Oh my goodness, that's sick.
I know, right? This is what I've been before, like perfect support, perfect structural, actual realism, which I love so much.
This would be my one swear word of the... That is some good Feng shit.
Good thing, sure.
That's the Marvel level of swearing. Just one person gets one.
And this is also the ceiling I was on about well earlier, where he didn't use beds, but there's that many rectangular partitions.
Exactly.
It offers full...
It covers the entire thing.
We have floors built here.
This is all ceiling porn. What is this?
the madness of that one we visited last week. That is beautiful. Okay, so there's many things. There's not just layers. There's a certain shape she followed, which didn't even stick to the ceiling. Like, there's no clear distinction between the ceiling for that art decoration in gold next to the bed. It goes into the wall. It crawls like across the ceiling and the walls, which is...
It crawls from the window to the wall.
To the window, to the wall.
I think there's a small point I want to make here, especially with the ceiling. Like, that ceiling is a feature. That room is really open, and it's not that like heavily decorated. It's quite doesn't feel empty.
Oh
Yeah.
no, not at all.
The ceiling is doing a huge part of that.
Exactly. It
Oh,
is
it's
more
gorgeous.
like an art decoration showcase. It's perfect. It's super minimalistic, and it just feels like a room that was prepared for you, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't look too lived in, and this is what I like about it. You don't need to make a lived in look and make it messy or cluttered heavily if you have something as beautiful as this.
True. I mean, this is specifically the Amarat style, right? It's the Art Deco, very stylized form of room.
Yeah, exactly. By a shock, yeah. I was.
Oh
reminded-
yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. I was
No.
just gonna say
No,
this.
go ahead. I was already thinking. I was just reading up the Nihilist post.
Yeah, that it definitely feels rapture, like that kind of underwater Art Deco, like. That's gorgeous, though. Yeah, Amarat is basically rapture. You're right.
Yeah,
Nick.
I was. I mean, for the time being, it's gonna be down at some point. Destroyed again, which I love also. Cimarante screams to me Gatsby.
Yeah.
Oh, this is one. This is a great one. I think Alex was the creator's name.
It is.
Oh
Alex, yeah.
yes, Alex. Oh my goodness, and Alex is doing like, wasn't this one of Alex's first
Yeah.
toes dipped into the
Yep.
water on housing, and they have only continued to absolutely amaze me. Okay, so you can barely see it in this picture, and I remember I've been to this build, but I don't actually remember exactly. Is that a little bit of Riviera trim, like in the circle closest to the chandelier there, like that very top circle?
Which one? Oh, you mean the marble? No, that's
Well,
the.
no, there's the marble, but do you see that little bit of dark trim around it?
No, that's part of the marble, right?
No, there's black.
I see,
it looks
what,
like
I see what you
Riviera.
mean. Yeah.
But I
Here,
don't know
hold
what
on, wait. I have a better shot. We can. Are you talking above the chandelier?
Yeah.
Hold on, I got a better shot.
Yay! I mean, this is a fantastic shot. It's hard to say that you have a better shot.
Of what you're
Oh,
describing.
hold on. I've got another one. It's it may be not the best ceiling, but it's
Oh,
up
no.
there.
I hate this one so much.
God
Oh,
damn
no.
it, Raps.
It's the one I saw on Google with the Hamaha 100 link. I don't see it. I just
Oh, the
don't see it.
Matanga lamp. Okay, I see. Just the texture in that one angle got me. I thought it was Riviera. That's so pretty.
The thing I really like with that ceiling is obviously the amount of slots it would take to make like a near perfect circle is ridiculous.
Oh,
I
And
think
so
that's for
with
partitions.
the layering, obviously he's offset the pattern each layer, and so it just
it's
No, it
so
just-
good.
alternates layer to layer, and I just think it's
I love
It's
it so
perfect.
much. I think when I asked how many items there were in total, I think they said 40 to 50. If I remember it correctly. Just for partitions, by the way, nothing else. So
Oh yeah. It's so good though.
yeah, and he
Oh, do
plays
you
on
have that?
PS4.
Do you have that Crystarium picture?
The one in Discord, yeah, it's up there. It's by Luca.
Oh
I
yeah,
asked-
let me get that.
It is one of
I-
our walkthrough requests that is like from December.
Well, so we still have yet to go there, is what you're
yes,
saying?
exactly.
Yay!
But I
Okay,
didn't-
but we'll go because I've
I
been
didn't
there
want to
and
miss
it's,
out. Yeah.
it's amazing. Where is this build? Alex's build? Let's see. I wonder if it's still
I
up.
don't know.
Hold on, let me check, Darth. Oh my goodness, this Crystarium
Just-
build.
Look at this.
I had to
baby.
double check this when you sent it. I was like, why is he sending in-game shots? Like,
I know, right?
Yeah, this is a large mansion. The normal stage panels, using lofts, using the round oriental shelf, no idea what the name was, using more lofts, and just shaping them in a way with the also rectangle partitions to cut the edges off perfectly there. And it just looks exactly like the plaza and the Crystarium. And just look at that.
It looks like the pendants to me. Like the side stuff looks like the pendants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be the pendants plaza thingy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Do you know what's surprisingly popular in Japan? Because I visit a lot of Japan, like their houses, and I look on Twitter. They really like hanging sideboards, and they will go overboard on their ceilings with that. And it's so small.
I just don't. I can't be happy with them because if you use lighter colors of them, again, wood texture. It's very detailed, but I don't like the wood texture at all.
You can layer the hell out of them.
Yeah, you can layer them. They're basically Legos. Like literally, they are Legos. But
pretty much.
The reason I like them so much for ceiling texture or ceiling like levels is because unlike the wooden flooring mat or the certain items that like the rugs that you use for ceilings sometimes like tabletop items don't snap up on them on the Hingen sideboards. So like I tried doing modern lighting with the snowman butt on say like the flooring mat and it doesn't work. It sucks it up. But on the Hingen sideboard you can, hide the snowman and just leave the butt.
Hide the body. Hide the body,
yes.
Yeah, like, do you remember us visiting this? Like, their house was all Hingen sideboard.
This is weekends, right?
Yeah.
I just think about it again, and I remember how much the Hingen sideboards were just used in every single thing back then.
The thing is with them as well, sorry to cut in, like they're obviously where they're quite narrow, you get like a really nice grain down them where they all meet each other.
That's very true. What I personally don't like about items like these is they are too smooth, and as in it lacks the structure for me. Just having a corner, like it feels like a wooden building block, like you said, a Lego piece, like a children's wooden toy block thingy, and it just doesn't feel natural to me, so I struggle a lot to use it. I don't think I ever used them, honestly, in a single build so far. Oh, maybe I did back then, like Stormblood's beginning days.
Oh yeah, and then you were like, nah.
No, they're just so hard to work with, in my opinion.
Yeah, a little bit.
At least for what I'm going for.
I like them as a floor.
They're very smooth.
They look very good.
If you want something really clean, it works. If you want texture, nah.
As a lot, like back then when we didn't even have loft. Many used them for like a slightly raised like that. That was really good. Because the floor texture looks really good as just a flat wood surface, nothing big and interesting about it, but it just looks straight up good.
Alright, so we have a skylight here. That is usually like kind of the de facto easy kind of wet your feet ceiling thing. Yeah.
That is so good.
I mean, it's clean, it's bright, it gives levels and interest, and it's just a good, like, I don't know. I don't want to say basic, but it's a good way to break it up and a good way to throw some more light into your build without going crazy on slots or windows or just. And of course, it's all white because that's how I decorate, y'all. Yeah. Sorry.
And as mentioned before, again, if you want to use the to round efficient, like I did, for example, that looked really good.
You cut out, Dev.
Sorry, I just said that you can work around in that manner with the chandelier if you want to keep it.
Yes, just like we saw with Lore. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, because you can see here it goes up to the natural ceiling at this height. This was all done with, well, not all of it, but this ceiling is at Crystarium stove height, and then the windows themselves, and then it fills up to the ceiling. So it's like, it's
Starium Stillfied. I like it.
It's so good.
Yeah, so that was very super easy to build. You don't have to really mess with the seams. The only thing you would mess with for your own ceiling is just making sure if you use like a flooring mat to keep it even. Same with the wooden loft. Like, I'm very particular about wood grain matching.
Well, yeah, you would want
same
this
here.
one because I was trying to build in this little corner. Wooden lofts are like, they're like magnets and like polarized ends of the magnets when you get near a floor or a pillar. So I just kind of had to jigsaw some together, so the texture isn't great, but you could very easily do this with grid snap in an open area and just line them up perfectly, and it would be super.
Yeah, man, those talking about the magnets, it's just like how everything just snaps, and I end up with shoes on my ceiling. Again, if this happened, by the way, I ended up with shoes on that wooden loft up there where the aquarium is. I took like 3 aquariums with me when I tried to move the loft. And I was so upset because it was such a struggle to float in there. But well, I hope they fix it. I actually know Square Enix, please don't touch anything. please don't try to fix it.
Don't fix anything. We'll just work with it the way it is.
It's like it's just like with the O11S.
Honestly, though,
don't fix it. Don't. You'll.
Honestly, though, if they added a Z-axis, but like it broke, what other like some other glitch? Like what's an important glitch that we? I mean, the only really important one is the loft anything, right? Like, and we wouldn't need that if we could place on a Z-axis. So like
snapping? No, it's just like snapping in general. So once you place it down, it wouldn't snap to anything but that.
Z-axis or storage glitch, pick one.
Oh gosh.
Z-axis.
Yeah. Z for sure.
I honestly rarely use storage glitch.
I'll be that person if they added a Z-axis. I'm out.
Honestly,
You're out. Why?
I'm out.
To be fair,
I like the difficulty.
I know what it means. If it becomes too easy and accessible, it's not as cool anymore. Like, it sounds really fucking stupid, but if they give me exactly what I want, it's not as good anymore. Because do you remember how many times I added things because we kind of worked around it before, and once we actually have them, it's not as cool anymore.
So you like the challenge, you like
you like breaking the rules,
the interest that yeah, the bad boys of housing over here.
It's the reward for your work, though, isn't it? Like, my ceiling probably took me about 20 hours of floating. If I did that thing in 30 minutes, it's whatever at that point.
I mean, yeah, that does kind of trivialize it, but think of how, like, just the level of design would go even further, I feel, because you'd have all these people who have creative minds, but maybe not a lot of time to devote to that sort of stuff. I don't know. I could see it go either way. Like, I also like the challenge, but I also am lazy, so...
It would be for the benefit of housing. Personally, it wouldn't appeal to me, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, I think it's an anecdote I will always... Me and Ash should be traumatized about what possibilities of which are gonna be. Like, we are not gonna be able to keep up with that, with the new influx of possibilities.
It's true, we're all...
So we're just like drop out, and well, look at us now. So even if it would be happening, I think we'd kind of be okay with it. And go even further.
Everyone
beyond,
finds. I was gonna say you'd find a way to make it fun. Like, I think you would.
The only thing, honestly, I'd want is give us a large open space to work with. Don't limit us with pillars.
Oh yeah, pillars are gross.
The choice to remove pillars or change functions inside, like change the staircase, or oh my gosh, can you imagine if I could change this to like this beautiful spiral staircase? I know we're like totally derailed from ceilings right now, but like I just want a spiral staircase, y'all.
Very important point before we continue. Someone asked about you can keep talking while we show it maybe. How to light things from the basement.
Yes.
If you want to float them up. And I mentioned world markers, and I think we should show that off while you guys talk.
There's an empty spot.
Because this is a trick I learned from Ash, and it helped me so much. It's like very, very helpful.
I'll just do it right here. you're gonna pull up your world marker. That's Control M on PC. I don't know what it is on PlayStation 4.
Thank you so much for follow, Grizzly.
I use the number 1 because it has a nice little square there. And then I go downstairs.
Thank you so much for follow, Mag.
And it will show right here.
Exactly. It's like very short and simple. And if you align stage panels on exactly that little dark line there, you will have a perfect position without grid snap.
Yeah, you'll be okay. So that's one way to do it. Another way is sometimes I will drape an item, something like a window.
Oh yeah, from the top.
Oh my goodness, if you have one, use those enormous paintings from the Mog Station.
I do not.
I bought the pack of them because I was like, man, what can I use these for? What do the backs look like? Are the backs going to be useful? No. They are low-rise as crap, and they're so ugly on the back, and they don't even have interesting frames on the back, so like, I was stuck with 4 of these giant things, and I was like, what do I do with these? I use them in place of world markers because they're extremely precise and huge.
Yeah. In that case, it depends on how precise you want to be, because if you want to be extremely precise on pixel perfect, go for a very flat item, and if you just want a general idea of and you just continue with grid snap, you're just gonna go for the for items like the curtains, for example, very simple NPC items, or as Kai said and as Rhapsody mentioned, just for windows. Honestly, very easy to use too. And getting them to the lowest point for the floor is also very easy using the crane.
I like the paintings because they're completely flat on their back, so if you want actual complete perfect precision, you can just see the point that like the panel moves.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you do that with like windows, like full thresholds and stuff, there's like a little bit of tapering. It's kind of...
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, that's why you use your eyes and you guesstimate, and then you get it wrong, and then you cry.
Action, just use your eyes for it.
Yeah, just use your eyes.
I feel like quite a few people have seen me refloat the same thing over and over by being 1 pixel out, and it driving me mad because I used one.
Fucking same. Happened to me so many
You were
times.
just saying once how you use like MS Paint to do pixels, and I can't tell if that's true or not.
Yep, completely. I went in G pose. I went in first person. I centered myself against. I took a screenshot. I used the select tool to make sure that I actually was putting a perfect square. And until it was a perfect square, I didn't stop.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
that's how I did the walls in my house. You know how you said that they look really even?
Whoa!
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Again?
Stop me! Oh my goodness! Oh, Lark! Oh my gosh! Thank you.
Sorry to cut you off, Synt. We had the thing again.
Lark! Oh my goodness! Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the gifts, for the sub gifts. Really, really appreciate it, York. Again, last week already, but Jesus Christ, dude, you're killing it. Really appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, Elorian! Oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. Yes, thank you. Oh, I really appreciate it, guys. I know we've talked about this before. We use the sub money to continue to make HGXIV better. Like, it doesn't go to us personally. We use it for art for the stream. We use it for we have big ideas, guys. We have big dreams. We wanna make resources and just anyway. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Can we get some HGXIV pocket?
HGXIV house pog.
House pog, please. Yeah, exactly. Midori said it too.
Honestly, I can kind of see it on the house. Like, the door is the mouth.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I'm just gonna draw.
Just make. Oh, it's gonna be
that looks
some
like
kind
a
of nightmare. Oh wait, hype train.
Oh my gosh, Billy! This has been
Jesus Christ! Thank you so much for following Kane family. Oh God.
Derailed, but oh my God, you guys
Billy.
are amazing. Okay, I'm sorry. I got
More house pog.
Okay, sorry, Ashton. What were you doing with this glade thing?
Oh, I was just floating it up.
I got distracted.
Sorry, Synt, we cut you off. What did you say at the end?
Oh, I don't know where I was at anymore.
It was MS Paint, pixels. Everyone's like, MS Paint's great.
perfect
And
alignment.
the same, yeah, pixel art is really in these days, guys, with the Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I've seen many. Imagine something like that for.
Oh god.
There was
Alright.
there was talk about integrating a image frame system with screenshots in Final Fantasy. Like,
Was there really? That sounds cool.
I think it was in a question like 2 or 3 years ago. Someone was like, "How cool would it be to have like a picture frame on your desk, and you can put in a screenshot that you select from your?"
Oh, that would be so cute. Ooh,
And that will open up so many different
do
things.
you get what I'm getting at, Rhapsody?
I do get what you're getting at. This'll look cute.
Stone
Hold on, we gotta
ceiling
turn
would
the
be-
couches around.
Turn them
That's
around, yeah.
dangerous.
Let's
You
turn
see,
these couches.
use Animal Crossing design to make your house.
Dude, that would be sick.
No, like pre-planning, like Synt does with about an Animal Crossing. Oh my god.
Dude, if I could use Animal Crossing design tool in Final Fantasy, I just would never play anything else. Ever. Just Final Fantasy. The only game for me. I mean, like, I don't play anything anyway, so that's not really a
I
commitment.
was about to say.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh man, look at how cabiny this is gonna look.
This is gonna be amazing. Yo, I was writing up. You guys remember when I mentioned I was writing up Ishgard? Oh, that
You
looks
were-
so good.
You were doing what for Ishgard?
I was writing up an Ishgard designing quote-unquote guide.
Oh, you were writing. Okay.
Yeah, and I was talking about how we don't really know how the inside of the rooms look like the, you know, interior stone kind of thing. It's hard to explain. I'm gonna go into that in depth later, but we need more stone ceilings, dude. And
Yes.
especially supported stone ceilings with wood, just holding the weight of the actual stones is just, I love it so much. God, that is so good.
Alright, so now I'm showing you guys all of this cabin stuff. I guess I should probably take pictures of this cabin and post it one day.
Yeah,
I love this so much.
you
It looks
have
so
building.
rustic.
You've been building cabins since like the very beginning.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, since very beginning of Tumblr.
Very beginning of time.
Rye says, where can I find this guide? Div, where's this guide?
I'm still writing it. I'm on page 7, and I'm not even a third through.
Goodness.
There's a lot to cover when it comes to absolute immersion.
Yeah, this is the Judge Judy. Time.
Yeah, when I finish it, I'm gonna publish it.
Alright, well, I think that was all of our ceiling stuff, right? We wanted to talk about the drop ceiling. Probably best in entryways, good in a kitchen. You need to try to layer and show just different levels.
Did we have a glade canopy bed on hand?
Oh, we should show the.
I just wanted to show
oh,
real
sh-
quick
sh-
the
the
size.
hole.
Oh, the whole, yeah.
The hole. Oh no, not the hole!
Have I guys corrupted you?
No. Okay.
Show the hole.
Yeah. When was
Whoa.
the last time we corrupted you? Was it the otter belly button ring? So get ready to see this one, or not be able to unsee it, rather.
I'm so used
They
to
are
playing
so
WoW
loud,
lately.
Lord. What?
Yeah, I've
What?
been playing WoW,
Ashen.
and
Ashen.
my mount key is like the equal key, and I just pressed it to mount up.
Hmm.
I've been playing WoW. What?
Hmm.
Who
Ooh,
would do that?
dude, Nayla, you're so right. If you have the plot in Lavender Beds where you're like right next to the waterfalls, the glade ceiling, the glade tub ceiling would make perfect sense. Yeah, Ashen's
So-
falling back into the player housingless abyss of WoW. Garrisons don't count.
So you know cake health? Okay. I'll save this joke for when I show you the bottom of the bed.
Okay, so, well, the reason I wanted to talk about the Glade Canopy Bed is that it is huge. Like, if you don't mind the corners of your build of your room being like a little, it's a circular thing, so like the corners might have a little bit of see-through ceiling, but the Glade canopy bed gives so much bed meta. Div, what are you doing? Oh my goodness.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
You're good. The Glade canopy bed is so big, it like can be used instead of like 4 of the vendor beds if you're trying to achieve bed meta. The only problem is that it's huge as crap, and so like vertically, so you don't want to be using the floor above if you are bed meting with the Glade canopy bed. However, it's been a very big trend to use the bottom of the bed in an artistic way, and Ashen will show you why we look at this and appreciate the art but also laugh. Yay, housing costs!
Since we're talking about using these for bed meta, you do have to overlap them slightly or you get a gap between them.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
But for small rooms, it's amazing. Like, I used it in my dining room, and like, if you go into the very corners of the room and angle your camera, yeah, you're gonna get into the ceiling a little. But in the main part of the room, where you sit at the dining room table, where you walk through the pathways, they're all bed meta. It's great.
Yeah, if you do like a 4 square, there's a gap straight in the middle. So that's the kind of overlap you need. Everything just needs to be in.
Thank you so much for oh, hang on.
There it is.
There
it is.
Oh my god.
So K-Cobb, did you see that picture? What he did? He made.
It's a little.
He put a chandelier right in the middle, like a.
It's a chocolate starfish. That is correct, Nail.
I hate this so much.
That's all I can see now.
Yep.
Like it's awesome because it's this cool round like accent lighting, and yeah. So
he covered the middle for a choice because of what it looks like. Let's be real.
That made it even worse, in my opinion.
So yep. And I've actually seen it. I saw it in Uta's build.
It can look very cool, but I just can never get that image out of my. It's just stuck.
So now you can't look at outer doors or the bottom of the Glade.
Well, you have nipple piercings. You have that now.
No, belly button.
Oh yeah, belly.
It's a belly button. Yeah.
Of course.
You understand what I want to do with this lantern, right?
Okay, Synt. No.
No.
Refrain. I know we've all been home for a while, but refrain from experimenting with lanterns.
We'll save it for after dark. It's fine.
Yeah, HGXIV after dark, please.
Getting a little bit desperate.
It's the after hours, boys. Nayla says.
But it's not quite after hours. So bed meta, big bed meta right here. That's what this is good for. Is when you need to cover a large amount of space on the ceiling.
I just. Your thing to cover up face like that. Exactly.
Oh man. So there it is. Oh, are we leaving these up for people to come visit?
Yes, this is our FCS for.
You cut off.
Oh, sitcom couch house location. There it is.
Yep, this is where we build. If you want to, I guess we can leave these up for a little bit if you want to come explore the ceilings and get inspiration and see how they're.
We're not gonna tear this down anytime soon, unless someone wants to build something.
I was gonna say, like, this is actually kind of a community space. A lot of people, a lot of designers are just in this FC on alts because there's a lot of just furniture in here, and we just kind of build. If you have an idea and you want to just mess around in a house, it's kind of cool. It's fun.
Imagine that a large house can you have so much large, everything in yours is just filled rim of items because they just throw everything into corners. Oh yeah, I'll need this later.
This is IKEA. You just have different little setups in every little spot.
Oh my god, here.
Right?
Is this just me or is this not? Okay.
So it's IKEA. It's definitely IKEA.
I was thinking about. Oh, sorry.
Oh goodness, bless.
Wow, even your sneeze is German.
Even your sneeze is German.
I coughed and sneezed at the same time. It was very painful.
Oh no, that's a big bless you.
Thank you.
Oh, hello, more friends have arrived.
It's York.
Zodiark?
Zodiark?
Zodiark? Our boy, our sponsor, quote unquote.
Our sponsor.
Yeah, we have many.
Excellent. All right, so that was basically all we wanted to cover, right? I think so.
We got everything.
Let's see. Anybody want to add anything? Chat, do you want to see something really quick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
is there a ceiling that you want to watch
Watch
us, or do you have a question?
Rebuild thing ceiling 1-to-1, same scale.
Yeah, hard pass.
We are on Famfreed.
Yeah, we are on Famfreed. The location was posted above, so you can visit us anytime. Oh, very rare.
Can you sink a loft into the bottom of the late bed?
Yes. They want to see how the depth of the model is, I think.
I'm yoinking this and... Oh, you yoinked it.
It's gonna look much worse once
Storage.
you actually get a loft into it, don't worry. Like, worse, you know what I mean. You'll see it. Oh yeah, oh Jesus, Billy. Oh, hang on, let me do that too.
How much should I do?
Oh no.
That's kind of cool.
That's cool.
There you go. There it is. That looks good. That looks really
Broken
nice.
ring is really cool.
Just having that ring there will add so much.
I saw that in gigs, one of gigs
Yeah.
missions, right?
Yeah, exactly. And don't look on top of the bed.
Water feature in the ceiling?
I don't think that
We
gonna
have a water feature right
work.
here.
Exactly, you just don't hear it.
Just make a skylight, just like with the.
Oh no, oh there she goes.
Oh no, there's the water feature right there. No, do a skylight, but make it with the Oasis fountain. Easy. So we already showed you, just replace those with Oasis fountains.
Exactly that, true. True. Oasis, I keep forgetting about them, even though they have so much potential.
Alright, well then, this was it. Wow, we actually nailed every single one we wanted to do.
Yeah,
We did it.
we are productive, my guys.
We planned a little bit ahead.
Yeah. How did I make this door? I did 2 different doors. This one is glitched from below, but this one is not. This one's just on the floor.
Yeah.
One of the partitions is glitched from below, though.
I was about to say one person. Yo, Ashton, join us for the end of the stream. Everyone join us.
Alright,
Live
where are we
studio
going?
audience.
Here?
You'll see. Oh, you
Uh-huh.
can't
Are you
because
on
the
the bed?
camera. Yeah, on the bed above.
Oh goodness. How did you get up there?
Oh my god.
Jumping on top of the railing there and then down straight up.
Do you want me to
Oh my.
parkour?
Yes, you can do it. See, Synt did it too, and he just immediately. You can do it. I believe in you.
I moved my camera too much.
I fell.
Buttresses.
Y'all are way too. Oh wait, I did it. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
We're just all gathering on top of here. I never noticed the space you're compared to every other bed. That looks so good.
Platforming, my greatest weakness. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you guys so much for tonight. It was a blast again. We hope you guys learned something new. Or if
Big
you
thanks
didn't,
to our live studio audience. Y'all are
yeah.
great.
Insert laugh track.
Right.
Really, thank you again for to Bjork and Billy for sponsoring some of the subs. Really
And
appreciate it.
And
Yeah.
also Div for sponsoring some
And
of
Div,
the
yeah.
Great.
I hope you can all post the house powers next time someone subs yourself.
Since I'm here,
Podcast.
I'll speak on behalf of other people.
Ooh.
First of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for everything you do for the housing community. You put out so much content, you know, all the break it downs, the kind of guide stuff that's been around. This podcast in particular, showing how things are done, kind of, and not just showing them like why it does a lot for the community. So, thank you.
That was so
cry
cute.
though.
That was so
So
cute. Thank you so
cute.
much, Sid.
You guys are awesome. I got a great picture.
Oh, good.
We love
Alright.
all of you guys. Thank you so much. Have a nice rest of your. Stay
Y'all-
safe. Stay.
Yeah,
stay.
y'all hold up in quarantine and
Yeah.
more houses because we've all got plenty of time. You know what I'm.
Yeah, you guys got. You guys got. These more houses. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. And next week it's going to be an interview with Fel, who's
Yes.
here.
Task rack.
Raise your hand, Fel, wherever you are.
Somewhere amongst the masses.
Wave at
Yeah.
the camera.
But thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next weekend. Bye bye.
See you next weekend, guys. Bye bye.
Later.